open my proof grade. Let's see, which is which? Nashville. I think that's the... I think that's the other one, yeah. Smyrna. Yeah, this one's the... Check the... Let's see. Yes, 9.5 starter pack kit. And oh, nice cardboard for prototyping. I really go through a lot of cardboard. Interesting packing now. They have it with the bumper, a bumper of cardboard. Before it was all bubble wrapped. So here's the, that's much more efficient than, because I have got a bunch of bubble wrap saved up. I haven't checked the sound. I don't have a remote mic. Let's check this. Okay. We have in this box, hello wonderful Glowforge owner. Oh, they know me. We're delighted to give you this selection of proof grade materials so you can have the absolute best printing experience. We worked with a host of companies to produce ultimate materials for you and the Glowforge, your Glowforge. And I can attest, this is excellent stuff. You put it in and work it. It's just so cool to take some apart out of the print bed of the, and it is amazing. So, flawlessly, guaranteed flawlessly. Gotta be flat in the bed. The default settings look good. I'm so looking forward to being able to use default settings, because I had a pre-release unit for 9 months, 8 months, and I was able to use some of the default settings in the beginning, but then they changed power profiles as they developed. But so we have here a standard natural leather, and let me get my caliper. I'm doing this in my hallway, and I think I can get some more light in here too. That might help. Digital calipers is if you're going to use your own materials or even use your own designs on proof grade, nice digital calipers makes a difference. So the proof grade standard natural leather flawless with masking on one side, 1.10 millimeters, 1.2, depending upon where I do it, where I squeeze it, but it's pretty consistent. 1.3, 1.2, and another standard leather. Getting a solution for coloring your leather will be a good deal. Oh, the proof grade labels are much brighter and nice and more contrasty. The black and the white is way more contrasty than used to be. It's like a matte. Well, it's just a definitely better contrast. So undyed, and that'll allow you to color it with Copic markers or acrylic paint or whatever dye you might choose to work with. Medium hard maple hardwood. So this is solid, and it is 3.44, 3.48. Depends upon how I squeeze it. 3.4. Earrings, pendants, you name it. Very, very versatile. Large grain here, and but no visible knots through the masking. Another maple and another medium maple, which is good because I have a lot of what do you call it, walnut. I could use some cherry though. I think I got some in the other. Now this is an interesting situation here. We got a masking just pulled off and put back on. Looks like that's not bad. That'll work. The material's fine underneath it. So here's a grain. So this is a solid maple. So three pieces of maple. I'd had the walnut to begin with, and it is, I love the walnut, and you don't get as much contrast if you're doing finger joints on the edge. And medium clear acrylic, and it is 3.4 again. This is excellent stuff. You make your edgelet signs. This in the 1/4 inch, since I have are the 0.21, 0.22, 0.23 thicker. For your edgelet signs, I have a bunch of Chemcast, but this is really handy for, well, it's all great, perfect. And two sheets of that medium clear acrylic. And I'm gonna have to start working with veneer because I have a bunch of veneer from before, so that's a lot of veneer, so maybe skin a cigar box or something like that. It is with the masking on and the backing tape 0.9 millimeters. And again, this stuff's flawless. The veneer really comes out. And the maple, great off the bat. You can do an inlay of maple and walnut and maple, and you're good to go. That was, I dinged it with the acrylic. And here we have medium maple plywood, hard maple plywood, and it is super stuff, just dead flat, maybe a slight warp that way, but I really don't know which one I like the best. There's no, having the maple, the walnut, and the cherry is amazing. Right now my cherry is, because I don't have a whole lot of it, I'd like to get some more cherry because it is so rich in color. And then another medium maple hardwood. I would say that's probably the easiest and cheapest for them to source. It seems to be, that's what I got to very begin with, the maple hardwood, or maple plywood. So that's 3 sheets of the maple plywood and 4 sheets of the maple plywood. A little more interesting darkening in the grain. And maple draft board. Okay, this is the first time I've had the draft board, or so I like to say the selective service board, which is just full MDF. It's what the plywood core is. And it's hard. No, can't put your thumbnail through it. So I'm looking forward to doing something with that. Medium draft board, and it is 3.5 millimeters. Oh, I'm using millimeters. Yeah, for the thickness in the Glowforge user interface, you need to put imperial. So I have to think about this again, get back to, because I've been doing millimeters with my 3D printer. So 0.15 is what they're, the 1/8 inch is what we're looking at. And then another medium draft board, select a service board, and a third medium draft board. Well, that will keep me busy. I'll show you my stash downstairs. Look at that nice cardboard for making, man, you make your little boxes with this, your tab boxes with this, wrap it in duct tape, or you can get colored duct tape, or just masking tape, and you got some very serviceable parts box and things. Really, duct tape and cardboard is really good, and making custom sized boxes for your parts and different things is amazing. Okay, now this is a box of proof grade I got ordered, I don't know when I ordered it. It's been a while, maybe May or something, June. And no, it was in June because it was after my Maker Faire, Bay Area Maker Faire, and I was restocking. Although I had a pretty good supply left after that, didn't get nearly done as much as I wanted. Oops, a broken bubble bag. So let's see what we got here. Oh my, that's interesting. So this is just free floating in the box. And that's weird. Just air cushion in the front, and that was it. So not even taped together. That's unusual. They've certainly improved the packaging. Usually that comes all bubble wrapped. So this one was from, oh, later than I thought, August 14th. Let's see what I got here. Here's my cherry. It's really nice stuff. And surprise, surprise, another cherry. And the third cherry. And that stuff's great. So maple, walnut, and cherry. Now here's some more draft board. Good. So, and 2, 3, 4. I think I'm going to be busy for a long time. And now the thick draft board. Here's the thick draft board. Don't know what I'll use that for, but 0.22 inches. That'll be cool. Another thick draft board. So this is my first draft board, selective service board. And here's the thick draft board. So I got a slew of that thick draft board. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna stay busy for a while. That's an amazing amount of material. And here is the turquoise acrylic in Glowforge teal. I ordered 2 sheets of that, and I don't know what I'll use it for, but it'll be cool. Something with the Glowforge logo, properly attributed with trademark and copyright and all that stuff. So that's a hunk of proof grade there. That'll keep me going for a while. Okay, I'll put you back in the window, and I think what I'll do is get a bunch of my 3D printing things and just talk about my 3D printing objects, because just see what I've been playing with. I posted some of the stuff on the community forum, but the Prusa is working just flawlessly every time. The only problem is I really boogered up the PEI sheet the first couple days, not knowing how fragile it was, and gouged it with blades and knives and stuff, so I got some nicks in it for the surface finish of my prints, but otherwise it's working good. I've gone through, like, I don't know, 6-7 kilograms of filament already, and so that's pretty fun. So I'll get a few of those items and show what I'm up to. So I got a Prusa MK3 or i3 MK2 in July. Instead of the 6-week wait, it was only 3 weeks. And it is a great machine. I got the kit, put it together. Took me about eight hours altogether, a little bit more than that. Had to disassemble and put the end stop in the other way, but it was I did know when I get the Glowforge, so by that time my pre-release was, because the power profile changed and I had a very early generation pre-release. I couldn't make use of the lightest lights and the darkest darks, the heavy power, so I was able to engrave just fine and do thin materials. Acrylic especially was fine, but the hardwoods and the wood, plywood, was challenging. So I got the 3D printer, and I'm just so happy. If I would have had one of these when I was young, oh my goodness. So of course I started out with all the basics. You get a 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter cube, and it was dead on, except in my Z I squished the filament a little bit. Had a little problem with bed adhesion, but it's good. So that calibration cube was pretty nice. And then the 3D Benchy printed without supports or anything, and when this came off, this is magic. Just magic. Yeah, I don't play with boats in the bathtub anymore, but it gives you a sense of potential. So with supports, check out this skull, except this is my first time printing with supports, so I ripped off the supports and ripped off the poor T-Rex's most defining features, those big big fangs, teeth. So it's absolutely amazing. Of course, I could just make a chicken skull and you'd be okay, but anyway, that is absolutely phenomenal. I don't know how many hours it took, but I just go to bed and wake up and it's done. So yeah, skeleton or skull. And here is the little Triceratops head that I printed, and I've gotten used to the ribbing from the layers and not being quite smooth, but on this one it's just iridescent. It turns iridescent with the texture of this. This is an absolutely wonderful 3D model, whoever made that, and the support structure came away very well. So just a Triceratops skull. Maybe I can use it to hold my chopsticks or something like that, I don't know. Practical things, so to hold PVC tubing together, I have a laundry hamper, so I use Onshape for my 3D modeling, and that's really one of the best things about getting a 3D printer. Is it really forced me to do the 3D modeling and learn that. I don't constrain at all. I don't get the design intent right and get everything perfectly constrained, but I'm getting a little better at that. Yeah, I fixed my laundry hamper that was falling apart. All these corner pieces of cheap plastic were broken. I made some Maker coins. Oh no, this one is a knob for my coffee, one of my coffee grinders that I keep the decaf in. The knob broke, so here's how I justified getting the Prusa. I can fix all the broken knobs in my life. And it really, really is cool. So here's a knob for my brother's F-150. This is the first iteration. It actually is a more complicated part because that's the hole's got some drafts in it and little detents or detents, and then another little boss here that keeps it from spinning around too much. So I worked on that a little bit more and made it a little more functional. It doesn't pinch quite well, this model, but I did the cutaway. So that was cool, learning how to model that part. So here's my first couple of these little calibration ones to get the nozzle down weren't too good, but I've since dialed it in a little bit better. You can see how it was playing with the Z axis, and here's where I had a little goober in my PEI. So nameplates, embossing, and I have a secret weapon out in my garage, and I still, in the long run, I'll use it, but I haven't introduced it on the forum yet. But I needed to get the production Glowforge to be able to use it right, and so look out for some cool stuff. Joseph himself in a bottle cap. So I printed this one, and it's cool. I'd not seen these things. So you get a coin and stick it in the slot. It was a little loose in here, probably for €1 or whatever. This I made my own, so it's easy enough to make your own. So I've made a bunch of these, and for my brother-in-law, who's the state fair director in Iowa, was going to go up to the fair and demo the Glowforge, but just couldn't. I had too much to do, a bunch of funerals and things, so then the pre-release was just not working the way I needed it to. Anyway, Joseph, what a great story, inspiring guy. It's a wonderful machine. Printed an iPhone case. It was supposed to fit my model, but it doesn't. So one of the things about doing these is I get the model, and then I can look at it, and then it's easy enough to roll my own in Onshape at the moment. So that's pretty simple to knock out in Onshape. So I don't have a case for my phone right now. I need to do that. A big project was, so someone came to me and said, hey, my grandkids, my kid's 40-year-old baby doll buggy, the wheels are broken off. Can you make a new wheel? So I was gonna plan on using the Glowforge to cut a wooden wheel, and didn't have to match or anything. She just make a wheel. So then I got the Prusa, and I said, oh yeah. So I made better, stronger wheels, and this was the first iteration. I since made the spokes wider for the oval profile on that, and made some cool hubcaps, put treads on the outside, smooth on the inside. So there you go. Then I printed 4 of these. They were like 10 hours, 8 hours a piece to print, but now that baby buggy's gonna have 40 more years, which is amazing. You don't have to throw things away. Wanted to test, and here's a vase. Now I can get vases out the wazoo because I work at a church. Probably not the best way to phrase that, but so flower vases, you know, what do you use them for? Flowers, I guess. Thumb covers, whatever. But I love that's just absolutely phenomenal, the precision on this design, and I just like that. It's just a beautiful design to see the patterning in it, and amazing. I have a Raspberry Pi. I got 3 for my my printer to run Octopi. This was the B model. I got some 4 early generation Raspberry Pis, and I just haven't put this over one of them. I need a, doesn't have any standoffs or anything in it, so but once again, print it out, and then you can see, make your own. You can see how this, I didn't have my extruders working quite right with the wavy in there. There was a little over extrusion, I guess, on that. But thanks to Ben and Palmer, that I tweaked my settings a lot. So that was really a lot of help, the 3D printing guys and girls on the forum. More calibration cubes. So I'm terrible. I don't take up my hoses, and I try to mow over them without breaking them, but sometimes I mess, and so I got hose clamps. So here's the inner one, and this, I can't remember what's the channel. He says 6 things to print, very practical things for a 3D printer. And I saw it says, of course. I have since used the HDPE, and so it's a little more robust for the outdoor use. But here's my clamp, and it's got keepers for the nuts, and let's see, and the final rendition just uses 4 nuts, screws, and it's got a countersink in the top and a nut keeper in the bottom, and it works perfectly. Boom, 2 minutes fixing a hose. Oh, here's my own bottle cap. This is kind of a state fair. Notice the state fair ribbon, and I will need to put some little shroud drapery on the bottom to make it more ribbony like, but that was my first attempt, and I've tweaked it. It works good. So bottle caps, I got bottle caps in, I think here it is. There's the extension, a text extension. So I was playing with the text extension, and it works pretty good. You gotta get it the right size, or else it won't hold. It has to be a certain size, big enough to hold the filament. Yeah, bottle caps. And I drink the beer that requires bottle openers. So big project was making a new base ring for my 3D print, for my blender. I have a mixer blender, shredder. Beautiful glass bowl and very high power, but the dang plastic housing for the blade unit breaks. I got 3 different times, and the replacements weren't big enough, so here's the original part, and it broke, and then this was too thin, so not high enough. So I learned how to make threads on this. It's got some interesting little doodads here to keep it from spinning as you turn it. Little detents here all the way around. So then the final model is better than the original, and a little bit taller, just tall enough to catch one more thread around. So blender bottom, what it was, saved me $10 on Amazon buying a new part. So I maybe I've saved about $100 printing my own parts at this time. I got, oh, I don't have a, I made a little screw for a slicer. It's on the Glowforge forum. And 15 years I can't use this meat bread slicer because the plastic screw got thrown away in the trash somewhere along the line. So it's a pretty intricate part with threads, inner threads and outer threads and holes through it, and and it worked. It just works, and so now I have a working meat slicer. A big project is printing a spiral dough hook for a commercial mixer. Now I'm in the process of seeing if I can get someone to 3D print it for me, if they can use carbon fiber reinforced nylon. I got one quote that was way too much for me because they were doing food grade stuff. And anyway, so here's the latest iteration, and this works pretty interesting inside. And I don't know if I could do I guess if I could find a material, I just haven't looked at materials that's water soluble or heat soluble, or however that works. I think that's a little too complicated for a lost PLA, but I got a guy who has a aluminum foundry, and I can make a cast aluminum part, but I haven't figured out what material to use, so I can do a mold on that. So maybe I can do it, but this was fun to learn how to do a corkscrew like that and getting the right profile. First it was a little small. I said I need to beef that up, although this is a nice proportion. Then I made it round and heavier, so that's okay. And then I looked some more at the commercial ones, and it's got a triangular profile, so that might be a little bit stronger. And so I don't know, we'll see. Had to print it in three parts, well, 2 parts, because of the bed limitations. But that is that was fun. I have a ETX 6-inch scope Mead, and this was for holding the for putting a camera on the back. And then I have for my Canon EF lenses, I printed the adapter for it. So that's threaded on the inside. So I got an adapter that goes over my camera, and I've always wanted to buy this T adapter from Mead, and I just never got around to it, and so I made my own. And this goes into the barrel, and then it screws on to the T adapter on my Canon camera, digital camera, and now I can hook my camera directly to my telescope. I didn't quite have the tolerances right to get it ready for the eclipse, but that was okay. Here's a little helical fidget spinner. So that was fun to print. So you roll one, it rolls the other. I haven't glued it together, it's just snapped right now. So yeah, nice. I like this black PLA. I need to get some more. It's cool. I haven't broken this planetary gear thing yet. Need to get the right hex socket on the drill and break it so it'll spin around. And speaking of which, so Christopher Lemaire, he's the one who 3D printed and did his own winding for a motor, electric motor, and he's got a tourbillon pocket watch, kind of big for a pocket. So he was making some slew bearings, roller bearing things. So I thought that was cool, and I'm really seriously thinking about that 3D printed motor. So I'm looking to see flight tested what they're gonna finally evaluate on that motor, if they will. So here's this is the smaller one, and it has angled slew bearings in there. The roller bearings have a little angle on them. So I didn't clean off the rollers perfectly, so it's a little wonky, but over time it'll smooth out all right. So eventually I will have a here's my Lazy Susan, and one of the things I'm waiting for my Glowforge to make a gear to go on the outside. Then this will go to the base and have a motor and motorize, then put a plate on the top and motorize, so then I can have a little part display that spins around to take pretty pictures of all the cool things I make on my 3D printers, my extruder and my FDM printer and my Glowforge laser printer. And yes, the Glowforge 3D printer, J.R. Nelson, sorry. But anyway, this is really amazing. It's got 40 roller bearings in it, and I'm psyched about the potential for this, for making Lazy Susans. So we'll see what happens with that. And oh, here's my I'll go switch to Glowforge. Oh no, wait, back here. I got some maker coins. I made some maker coins, part of the making the knob. So here I have a maker coin, just one tool. Well, now I got two, but it's really pretty cool that you can take things off the 3D printers and then they work right off the bat. So little maker coin. Thanks Maker's Muse for the Angus for the inspiration. Angus, I met Angus at Bay Area Maker Fair, and he's just such a positive bundle of energy, and I didn't really understand and know his place in the 3D printing YouTube community, but I quickly found that out after watching his videos, and between him and Tom Salander, it really hooked me on knowing what to do and what printer to buy, what I thought I should get. And so thanks, Angus, for just the little chat we had at Bay Area Maker Fair, and following up on your stuff was pretty cool. Finally, I made my iris box here. Here's my iris box. A little tight. I still got to work on it. So I am. So this will be. I turn this into a Glowforge design, tweak it a little bit, but there's my iris box. I don't know. I was thinking it would be kind of cool to have an iris box with a little motor on it that had a little light sensor, and then it would look for the Glowforge blinking, and when it blinked, not just turned on but blinked so many times in a row, then it opened up, and then you press the button and then it would close, because at Maker Fair people can push the button. They love pushing that button while it's printing, and if you hold that button down long enough, you'll set it into a setup routine, I believe. I don't know if they've deactivated the button during the print now, but that's something interesting to test for you. But to have a physical escutcheon that actually is a security device over it would be interesting. And of course, then there's the automatic button pusher that might be built into that, because sometimes you might want that. Not that you should ever leave your printer unattended. So the escutcheons are the thing. So if you get a Glowforge, you got to do an escutcheon. They're just a little bit of bling to add on your. I'm making some waterproof boxes. Got some desiccants, mini dehumidifiers on order. So I was watching someone build a box that holds your PLA or your HTP or all the especially the ones that need to stay dry, and they had a little nozzle, and they went to the hardware store and they bought, you know, such and such a nozzle and drilled it out the right size. Well, I said, come on, let's do that. So I made a nozzle, and this one's a little small for the filament. I had to keep resizing it. So the filament goes through the center, and you put this on the side of your box, and then this goes on the inside, and you put a little rubber gasket around it, and then on the inside of the box you tighten it up, and now you have a little nozzle for your filament to come out. And so whatever filament's in there, you pull it out a little bit, snip that off, because that's going to be a little wet, and then pull out some fresh, and hopefully it's all going to be dry, because whatever filament's in the tube is going to stop the rest of the filament from getting moist. In theory, that's what I like. But so I printed these little nozzles, and so that was fun, figuring out how to do the inside and outside threads. There are some threading functions in Onshape, and I'm going to have to learn a little bit of machining jargon and understand screws, because well, I made it work, but I don't know how. So learning how screws are put together. But this just, it really is amazing that you can make fasteners, nice fasteners. So there's my fasteners. I printed the octopus, the flat octopus. The support structure is a little challenging on there. I think that PLA got a little wet, but pretty cool detail on that. And oh, what else? Oh, whistle. Printed a whistle. These suckers are loud. Need to put a fastener on it, and this came with the proofs of one of their basic models. So Glowforge things. Here I want to show you some of the cherry. This is a cherry hardwood, and really nice color. Really nice color. I made some anniversary tokens for an 40th wedding anniversary for my brother. So that was the last big job I did on the Glowforge. And Jules and I worked through understanding clipping past maths, booleans to see what a Glowforge needs to do engraves, and still working on all that, understanding it, but this was part of that, and this was scored to see what it did, what the different operations did, and how to set up a file to engrave tray properly and cut properly. So that was very helpful. Making a ginkgo leaf pendant or hair clasp or scarf clasp. This was an early iteration on it, and didn't get it all cut through correctly. I made the card scallops that clip together for cards. Got a whole bunch of those. Those are a no-brainer to make, and you can make bigger ones and little ones, and I enjoyed that. And oh, here's some of my own walnut that I had, making some. This eventually turned into a ornament that I had, picture ornament. So you put the picture in there, acrylic on the outside, and then some backer, and that would be good for the draft board backer. And then you have an ornament with a picture in it, and it works super. Here's my Matchbox. One of the first living hinges printed publicly on a Glowforge here was this one. This is way back in December, and I was still working on my designs. 12/21/26. This is the maple. Had a lot of maple to begin with. Glowforge really treated me very well. I just cannot thank them enough for the opportunity to work with them on the pre-release, and how generous they were with their time and materials, and just to have that opportunity to work with such creative and good people. And the forum has been great. Ditto with all the folks on the forum, because you've been made it fun for the last almost 2 years, and another 10 days we're going to have a 13 days will be exactly 2 years from the initial ordering. So just thanks for the opportunity, and hope everybody gets their Glowforges soon. I hope mine shows up soon too. Finally, I will leave you with Elia. Anyway, this is a cool dragon. We need to get a spout in it so it can shoot water or flame or something. But this is just magic. It's the most amazing thing. So anyway, oh, here's a little Raspberry Pi camera holder. I since tweaked that to make it a little tighter, made a little higher extension on it so that it holds up higher. And I think that's it for the show and tell. So no Glowforge yet. I'm gonna go check my schedule and see what's going on.